What's going on, everybody? Thank you for joining me this morning. It's a beautiful day out. Well, it looks like it's gonna be a beautiful day. Today I want to talk to you guys about my Camaro SS and specifically what it's like to go from a hot hatch to a muscle car. That's the topic that we'll be talking about. So stick with me on this drive if you're interested in that, and I'm just gonna get ahead and go into it. So right now I am in my 2018 Camaro SS, and it's been a pretty cool experience so far. I wanted to go ahead and just share for people that are interested in, share my experience with people that are interested, that are deciding to look to get into a more powerful car, or something just in general with more, more power or bigger. Actually, I think bigger would be the better thing. And for me, I chose the Camaro SS for a couple different reasons. So my driving history is me pretty much driving mostly hot hatches. I've been a car enthusiast now for over 10 years, and I've loved it. I really do like the car community as a whole, car communities, and it's just an exciting thing for me. It's a great hobby. So hot hatches, I've owned Veloster N, I've owned a Focus ST, and I've owned a Fiesta ST, and I've driven tons of other cars also, including, Civic SIs, Civic Type Rs, Golf R, Golf GTI, Subaru WRXs, pretty much the whole gamut of all the hot hatches you can pretty much get your hand on. And then of course a couple of other, rear-wheel drive type sport cars like the BRZ, 370Z, like I said, I've driven a lot of stuff. And over the years, I've always wanted to own a rear-wheel drive car, because obviously there is something special about owning and driving a rear-wheel drive car. Not to say that a hot hatch isn't special, because they are equally special too, and I think a lot of it has to do with our ages. I'm 32. I'm a little bit, not old, but I grew up in that, in the mid 2000s, and so for me the hot cars were like, hot hatches. Civic Si, well, Mitsubishi Eclipse ain't really a hot hatch, but that's actually more so what I grew up with, like Mitsubishi Eclipse, late 90 cars, 3000 GT, love those cars. But as I got a little older and hot hatches started becoming more prominent and available, I jumped into hot hatches. And my overall driving style and feel for cars is I like to be in a lightweight, well-handling car, where you can feel a lot of the road. You can feel when you turn in, the car isn't, blocking those sensory feelings for you. And so when you're going from a lightweight car to a much heavier car, the number one thing is you have to go test drive it. You absolutely have to go test drive it. You can go read forum posts for, hours, and honestly, I do that. I read Reddit for hours, and I read forum posts for hours, and I watch all these different car reviewers for hours. I love it. Can't get enough of it. And you can read all those and watch all those videos, but to be honest, the most important thing is you have to go test drive it. And the number two thing is you have to go test drive it for a lengthy amount of time. Don't just go for a 20-minute test drive and think you're good. And if a dealership won't let you test drive it for a lengthy amount of time, try to find one that will. And if they won't, then keep just test driving at different dealerships. I know it's kind of a little messed up, but the truth is, this is especially if you're purchasing a car, not leasing, which, most people probably will purchase. This isn't a, hey, let me go ahead and buy this car and, test drive for 20 minutes and make a huge financial decision by buying this car right away. Take your time. Don't let dealerships pressure you into going ahead and just purchasing a car. That's the worst decision ever. Make sure you like the car. And honestly, a couple test drives probably won't do that for you, but at least it will give you a better understanding. And then, this isn't really, I don't want to go into financial decisions with this thing, but of course, make sure that if you are going to be buying a car, and you're not sure whether or not you do like it or not, and you decide to pull the trigger, try and buy something that is going to hold its value relatively well, because when you do go to sell it, you don't get egg on your face. You don't get crapped on. Yeah. So, that's super important. But anyways, so for me, obviously light, agile handling is super important to me. So my thing was I wanted to get a lot of power without having to mod it, which muscle cars, or even though the Mustang and the Camaro really aren't considered muscle cars anymore, I legitimately consider them to be true sports cars, especially after driving them. they're still heavier than your average car. So but I wanted that lightweight feeling. And the closest thing you can get with a lot of power, not modding it, would be into either a Mustang or Camaro. I did test drive a Challenger. I'm gonna be honest, they felt really, really boaty to me. Not agile cars. Nothing against them. They drive fine. It's just not my preference, and it's way too big and dampens the overall feeling of when you're going into a corner. Even when you're going fast in those cars, it's such a big car that it's such a big car that you just don't get that sensation of acceleration and speed unless you're going way too fast. And honestly, that's the next thing I want to hit. Like, I wanted a car that I could drive at lower speeds and enjoy, and not have to ring it out to go, 80, 100 miles an hour on a back road where, that's the only way you're gonna get some true feeling out of the car. That ruins the drive. I don't want to get arrested. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to kill myself. I don't want to kill any animals. I don't want to crash my car. So in saying that, you really want to buy a car that is able to give you a fun, safe drive. At least for me. I know a lot of people are into, street racing and whatever, and that's your choice. But for me, that's not my goal. My goal is I want to have a great time every single time I get behind the wheel, and I want to be safe while doing it. That's a really nice Mustang, actually. I just want to pull over here to see that real quick, because that is just beautiful the way that blue is just gorgeous. I'm a huge Mustang fan, honestly. I love Mustangs, and I love all cars, but I really like Mustangs, and I almost pulled the trigger on one. So getting into this, I wanted a lighter car. So I wanted a lighter car, and I decided that the Mustang was just too big. After driving that and the Challenger, it was too big. I love the sound of the Mustang, but that guy's getting kind of close. It, at the end of the day, just didn't tick all the boxes for me. A car can't just sound good, and the Camaro sounds really good too. So like, it can't just sound good and be like, okay, well that's it, I'm done. It needed to be lightweight. So I keep saying that. I keep rambling on a little bit. Let's see here. I gotta wait for this person. I just want to say, for like the Topher, I watch his channel a lot. He'll probably never see this video. But for anyone that does ever watch him, props to him, man, because it is hard for anybody that vlogs or speaks while driving. It's not easy. But anyways, so that Civic did not sound good. And that was the other thing too. I was tired of 4-cylinder sounding like crap, although the Veloster N and the Focus ST I had both sounded amazing. And I will do future videos talking about my experiences with those cars, because I had them for years. I still remember a good amount of how they drove. But yeah, so the Mustang felt too big. So, and when comparing those two real quick, and I'll probably do a more in-depth video on this, but the Mustang did feel boaty. Camaro felt lighter. I got a lot more sensation from the Camaro when I was driving it, even at lower speeds, than I did the Mustang. And that was really important for me. So when coming from a hot hatch, I wanted to feel stuff. I wanted to feel the ground. I wanted to feel the steering input. I wanted to, feel connected with the car and also get some excitement. Now, the other thing too is that going from a Camaro to, specifically now I'm talking about the Camaro, from the hot hatches, it has more feeling than, like, say, a Mustang or a Challenger, but it's still lacking. Like, I don't want you to go ahead and think that you're going to get as much sensory from a, lightweight 3,100 pound car in this 3,600 pound car. And it's not even about weight, because I've also driven other Alpha chassis cars, like the, what's it called? Oh, gosh. CTS or ATS. My coworker was kind enough to let me drive it, and that car weighs 4,000 pounds, and I'll tell you what, that car really does feel like a 3,000 pound car. That car does. However, the Camaro with the big V8 up in the front, it feels super light. It feels very capable. It feels probably about like a 3,400 pound car, but it still does feel like it has more weight than like a Civic Type R even, or definitely the Veloster N feels way lighter than this. But you're still getting a lot of sensory here. Like, compared, if you're just choosing out of the three, Mustang, Challenger, Camaro, this has the most sensory you're going to get, most feedback in the steering wheel. Steering doesn't feel dead. Most torque you're going to get down low. That's another thing coming from turbocharged hot hatches. You get a lot of low end low end torque in this car. Like I could just go ahead and push it in third gear right now, going 3,000 RPM, foot down, and it's pushing me. It's hauling. It feels really, really good. And that's something that you don't get out of the Mustang. And you can, if you bolt it on, do tunes, or, you know, a bunch of other options, supercharger or whatnot. But out of the box, if you just want something out of the box, this definitely has the most torque, the most driver feeling compared to the others. I could pretty much end the video right there, like as far as it comes to, like, you know, Challenger, Camaro. But I don't think I answered some of these like questions I would personally have. So to embellish just a little bit more, the car also, I wanted a lot of power that was reliable. The Camaro is more reliable overall as a car than the Mustangs. And I know Mustang owners might like say a bunch of crap about that, but the 16 to 18 transmissions in those cars were kind of rough, and they're janky. The 16 through 18s, 15 through 18s, I'm sorry, the Mustangs, those MT82s, I think that's what they are. They are just not very good. However, the 19s feel much better, and the 19 reliability, I think, is better. However, the Tremix in these cars, in the Camaros, throughout all the years, 16, 6th gen, and up, they are pretty much bulletproof. And they feel better. They feel a lot better. And that goes to the driving engagement. Seating position in here, the Camaro feels special, and it feels more hot hatch sports car like than like the Mustang or the Challenger. Both those cars, you know, you feel more on top of the car than in it. In the Camaro, you feel definitely in it, and you feel like you're in this like insulated cockpit, like a fighter jet. It's amazing. So that was another thing that really voted over the Camaro. The excitement of driving this car overall is just so elevated beyond a hot hatch because of the simple fact that you feel the car moving very fast at most speeds. But where the car does let me personally down, and probably lets other people down, especially when you're coming from a hot hatch, is that when you're driving it slow and you're just driving it, it's a very smooth, comfortable, unrace car feeling car. And this is where, for me, the Camaro like falls apart, which is not a bad thing. It's just my personal preference. I'm learning as a driver is that I kind of always want to be in a race car. I don't ever want the car to be calm, which I know is weird. A lot of people like to relax and cruise. I'm not that kind of person. I want to be in a race car feeling car all the time. And I haven't driven the 1LE, and the 1LE could possibly change this for me. But not having an adaptive suspension kind of does suck, because I would like to go from soft to like very firm, which I was able to do in the Veloster N and in like the Focus ST, Fiesta ST, a lot of other hot hatches. I had that hardcore feeling pretty much all of the time, which is something you don't get, at least in the 1SS that I have, unless you're caning it. And that's the other, so this would be one of the other downsides of this car. You have to be caning this car in order to get the same amount of feeling you would get in a small turbocharged car. And when I say caning it, like, you could just step on the gas and you could just step on the gas pretty much in a hot hatch. And because the immediate turbo response, you're gonna feel like you're going fast. Now in this car, you can step on the gas and you get a lot of torque, but it's not gonna feel fast until you start pushing the car. And that's one of the issues with this car, and with probably maybe the bigger cars in general, muscle cars, is that you don't get that immediate driver like sensation or a fast speed at a slow pace, at a safe pace. It's not a true I don't want to say momentum car. It's just that's a different thing between the hot hatches, and I honestly have to like think about it and analyze it more. I'm pretty much gonna end this video here. I hope this is beneficial to some of you guys. This is just a random vlog thought. I'm probably gonna repost some other things, maybe some stuff that's a little more thought out, because I'm sure I'm missing things here. And this is like one of my first like vlog videos, so it's not that good, I'm sure. Thank you very much for whoever's watching this. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'm gonna try and get some kind of following on here, just because I enjoy doing this. I talk, and why not talking to a camera? Just makes sense. Take it easy.